people are joining, right? Okay, let's 54 people, 50 people. Okay, fine. So there are a few things. Actually, I'm not going to deep dive into the OOPS concept in Python because actually we are not dealing with the Python programming. Okay, so we need to go on to the data science and machine learning algorithm quickly. So just a heads up I'm giving. What's a class? So class is nothing but a blueprint from which the specific object going to be created. So for example, nowadays actually we are not using the photocopy, right? So negative and positive out of that. So during when I was schooling and college and all, even I think 15 years back, right? Almost. Probably you guys are like when we are very so young, you might have a good experience or you might have seen some negative films in your home. Okay, so probably you can check with your parents. So there we used to go and take a picture, hardly in photo studio, or else we might have a camera and we have used to own camera and put the films and we'll take the picture, and then the image will be like exposed. The film will be exposed in the light and capture the image and store it in one form of the film. Okay, so we'll take that film and we'll give into the like a photo studio. So they what they will do, they will create positive, that's a photo print like out of that. So we used to call also like negative and print photocopies. Okay, so this is a best classic example for class and object. Okay, so if you're taking a picture, then it's going to be negative. From that negative you can make n number of pictures. It could be a small, big, what are the size you can create that. So in ops concept, so what we used to do, we used to create a simple class and keep all the variables and methods and functions. There are so many things inside um, the classes. Okay, anyway, I have a program, I'll show that. I don't know explain in detail, so because we need to cover so many things today. So the class, right? So here is a plan. So what they will do, the architecture, they will create like a plan like this. So they will have living room and bedroom, kitchen, and then the showroom, anything, and balcony and car parking, and the other spaces in the house. They will create a very nice flat structure. So this can be created as a actual houses, not only for making new houses, and they can use it for any other language, any other in number of houses they can build. Okay, but even that also not relatedly to good. But the best example, probably you can take it out of my what I said, like a negative copy you can make a number of positive copy. Okay, so something like that. Even if you're going for a Xerox, so you have your original one, you're taking out of a number of copy out of it. It could be any size, A4 size or A0 size or A2, A3, whatever the size, you're making that out of the Xerox copy. That is the best example for creating classes and object. What's a class? Class is nothing but a collection of methods and variables in it, and then from out of it, when you're creating object, a specific set of object, you can access the object. Basically you're not going to use any you're not able to use what is that, you're not able to use any. For example, this is my class name. Okay, class name. So here we used to you have like private. I'll show the program. Here the variables, variable 1, variable 2, etc., and they might have public. Here they will have some variable 3 and variable 4, etc., and they might has their private add function, something like that. Okay, so private def, since we are writing C, Java, this one, right? Python. So here's some statement. Okay, statements over here. The same way, what they can do, public. They'll highlight that it's not a very typical same syntax, just for understanding and writing. Okay, public function. Right. So now if I want to create any classes means what I used to do, underscore name obj. If I used obj dot, then I can access for what, add. I can use object dot variable 1 is equal to 5, sorry, 5, and same way I can access anything. So here I have created a class, I can use that. So I have a sample program, I will show that. Okay, so this is the way to write the simple class program. Okay, so class files and creating a class and creating object out of it. Here the best example for, there are four concepts as I mentioned earlier. As I mentioned earlier, there are the main four concepts in the OOPS is nothing but inheritance and encapsulation and polymorphism and abstraction. Okay, so type of inheritance we have multiple things. I don't want to go in detail, just for giving the heads up. I'm giving the instruction. So probably you guys go ahead and create simple inheritance program by using Python. Okay, this is going to be a single inheritance, and this is going to be multi-level inheritance, and this is going to be a hierarchical inheritance, and this is going to be a multiple inheritance. Okay, so multiple inheritance means class A, class B. If I'm creating the class C, the what are um, the proper methods and the variables which is available for A, and what are the methods and variables is available for B, which is accessible, which it can be inherited into the C. And when you're creating an object out of the C, then you can use all those things. Okay, so it's going to be like a combination of, 1 minute. Okay, so combination of, okay, so the combination of the both you can use that. That's very important. So combination of the A and B will available for C. From the C, if you are creating any object, so the property will available for this one. The same way, you are creating in two classes, and it refers a class A. So the class B and class C has their own their own property and the methods, and the same way here C also had his own properties and methods, whatever it is, and it also sharing the class A, all the other the features of A. The same way, this is class A, class B, class C. This is a multi-level. This is just like the grandfather, father, and son relations. So, for example, grandfather has a kind of what is that? Some the habit or some intelligence, or it's a DNA perspective. So they have so many. The characters might be like cascade into the grandson to the father, and then father some sort of he might have some other the additional um, the characters or any other things that may be inherited to the child. So it's going to be a son. So the multi-level inheritance is just like you used to say, what is that? Um, the grandfather and father and son relations. And this is simple one-to-one. Okay, so you can compare this. So it's a just small picture representation. So the this one is actually the cow is telling, so son, I am the base class, and this guy is telling like, dad, I am the derived class. So generally this is the base class for across, these are the base classes, and all the other classes going to be derived classes, because we are creating out of this one, and it might have some other additional features and methods on it. So I don't know, go into deeper into that. Just I'm giving you heads up on this. Okay, so inheritance, as I said, derive the attributes methods from the parent class and modify them as per the requirements. So you can create, for example, the class is a car is a class, and if you create a number of object car classes, and you can make it as like the Ford, Toyota, and Volkswagen, anything. So that's nothing but a class and object. And quickly we'll move into the encapsulation. Okay, the encapsulation is nothing but what, like hiding the data and object to prevent the access from the outside world. That's very, very important. That is the main thing. That's how you can make a call out like the capsules, right? So the tablets in the capsule tablet, there are the like the medicines like inside that the capsule, and which is protected by the capsule one, so that if you swallow, then automatically like the variables couldn't attack by the any other external methods, so the external environment, so that once you swallow, then what will happen? So you'll go and digest in your digestion system, and the medicine started reacting. The same way, if you're creating the classes and if you're implementing the encapsulations, so what will happen? The variables and methods not accessed by outside of the classes. So you have to have creating a methods, proper methods and object, then only be able to use that. That's very important and powerful uh, and powerful what is that the features in any object oriented programming. And the same way, polymorphism. Polymorphism is a simple thing, the simple terminology like the common name which is shared across by uh, a number of functions. For example, if you have a len functions, the len functions, it used to find the length of the string as well as the length of the list items and the length of the directories. Okay, because the string, list, and the directory, sorry, and dictionaries are different data type. So if you want to find the length of the each and every item, each and every data type, we are using again a len functions. So it has a single face and multiple so a single name and multiple features. For example, if you're creating a some method, what is that best example, what the best example I can say, um, mm, same functions. Okay, so the functions, I don't, okay, I don't confuse you guys, just I'll stop it over here. Length, so here is we are using for to find the length of the string and find the number of items in the list and find the number of items in the key using the dictionary. So that's I think actually len functions there, because there are some very vast area. So if you jump into that, then so we end up with the object oriented programming in Python. Okay, the same way for abstraction as well. Okay, so this is, it doesn't matter you guys did that. Only the thing your laptop should support uh, um, support that, like what is that, that much capacity you should have. Okay, right. So I think we are done with this control flow. So this is the one we have discussed now so far. I think the functions. So already we have discussed about that. Okay. So here I am declaring a function, and as I mentioned here, we supposed to give the indentation. Otherwise, the Python will throw the error. And this is the calling function. Okay, that's very important. Come on, guys. Come on. It's very slow. Okay, as I mentioned, this is your the add function. So this is a called function. Okay, your calling function, and this is your called function. That's very important. Hope you understand that. So familiar with that, because these are the very basic thing. Okay, right. So control statements. I'll share this file. Okay, today. and then it's attributes of the classes. So as I mentioned here, it's a class name, and I'm declaring the variable. This is nothing but we used to call as a constructor. So constructor destructors are available. So I don't go in detail again. Like you see, this is nothing but it's a method. When you're creating an object, by the time itself, it will call the class and pass on the values. Okay. So the constructor have, and I'm declaring a variable the self dot f name, last name, salary, and giving the output. Okay, here I'm creating my object. The object is nothing but emp underscore one is my object, and this is my class, and I'm passing the value John, David, and the salary. So what will happen? This is automatically like come on, annotation. Okay, so this is the your class name, right? And these are the variables what I've already declared in my inside my class, and this is my object. So here I'm creating a number of objects. See here the employee one, employee two, all of the things. So I'm trying to print employee dot email, employee one, employee underscore one dot email means, so it will give this value, because once I executed this statement, automatically, like actually internally, it will go and create the object for this class and pass on these values John, David inside to that. So it will assign to the appropriate variables, and then when I calling like email means, what will happen, this is my variable, so that internally it will concatenate the first name and last name along with this string, so that I'm getting David John dot David at company.com. And again I'm using the second method called what I'm using, Magesh and Babu, and passing the value. So it will go and it will create the object. And during the object creation itself, as I mentioned earlier, the constructor will invoke, and it will pass on to the variables, and it will assign to your variables. And these manipulations will happen internally. Okay, during the object creation. During the object creation, that is very very important. Okay, during the object creation. Okay, during the object creation itself, it will do execute that. That's very very important. Okay, so then finally I'm giving like employee underscore one sal and employee two is equal to sal, means that will print that value directly. This is a very simple understanding of the Python classes. Okay, so is there any doubts, the guys? This is very simple. Okay, self-explanatory as well. Any questions?
No, sir.
Cool. Okay, just try to do that. Probably I'll try to give some assignment on this out of it. So just explore yourself. Okay, and then this is actually the class with the along with the method. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the notation. Come on, guys. Come on, yeah. So this is a constructor, and this one is the method. Okay, this is the method. This is a constructor. The constructor is also a method. So what is a method means? A method is nothing but a function. So there might be some questions, interview questions. What is the difference between methods and functions? It's a very basic questions. Okay. So you supposed to say there is much difference between the method and functions. So function is going to be, it's going to be, it acts as a alone. You can call function directly, but methods, it's always going to be inside of the class. Okay. So when the functions comes inside the class, then it becomes the method. We have to call out as a methods. Okay, and same way the variables, it's going to be declared inside the program is a normal variable. If you're declaring the variable inside inside your classes, means like this is this one, right? The first last salary, this is going to be what, these are the variables, like it's a class variables. Okay, it's a class variables, we used to say class variables. So here I'm creating variables like employee number, and I'm calling this function. So how you are going to call the similar way, the function we used to call the add functions, right? Add function. If you're creating add function, the last example 5 comma 5, what will happen? the dad will be go and call the function which I declared on top. The same way, when I'm using the object dot method, the object dot method will go inside of the class, means for individual class, individual object reference. So it will go and do all the manipulation and we'll get the answer here. Okay. Okay. Right. So it's the basics. Just I'm creating object and then you try to use that. So this is nothing but a Python basic class and object. So probably you can try to use that. So I'll give assignment for you guys. Just explore your own. Okay. So any doubts, any questions? Please let me know. Any questions, guys?
Students, if you have any queries,
Sir.
you can ask him.
Sir, what that self actually represents, sir?
Self is represents actually the class itself. If it's a self and private, we used to call as a private, self, public. The notations we used to call as a notations. This is nothing but the class. It has some variables. For example, there has some template. Okay, so the human being actually they have like their common natures, right? They able to speak, walk, they sing, dancing, anything they can do that. It's a similar way. Each and every attributes we used to call it as the attributes. So attributes nothing but your characters. So here the attributes nothing but your variables. So if we are going to be with a specific to the Java, sorry, so specific to Python, we used to have the that self underscore variable name, and sometimes it's going to be a private or public, whatever it is. So that what will happen if it is going to be a public means the specific variable can be accessed by the outside of the class as well. Okay, if it is going to be a self means so only the variable is scope inside the class. Outside the class, if you try to access that variable, you cannot. Okay,
Sir, it's similar to private, no, sir?
exactly. That's what I said. That's what I said.
Okay.
Okay,
Sir.
cool.
Sir.
But that's what
Thank
I.
you, sir.
It's a very simple. See, if you go any language, the each and every language it has own set of declarations similar to that. Okay. So this is actually a simple representation because why this is could be a funny thing, but actually the reality. Okay, because actually if you talk about the statistics, actually the statisticians are like across the globe you have so many mathematical statistics and everybody there. So what they will do, they will go and collect the data and make it like a nice that put it in the tabular sheet and Excel sheet, or they used to written in normal white paper and started doing all the analysis. It could be a mean basically if my statistics means we come to know the things like mean, mode, median, and standard deviation and variation. These 4 or 5 things are keywords. It's a very important when we are dealing with the statistics. Very basically, I'm telling. Okay, so these guys actually when they're connecting with the computer, the science. So what they have done, they have created a nice functionality how to represent that, and that's the reason actually it could be kind of one way is a kind of funny, but it's actually the making enhancing that the visibility of the statistics um, and articulating the specific the data point in different way and utilizing for the until the what is that AI perspective as well. It's going to be deep learning, computer vision, and NLP. There are so many things are there. That is a basic thing. What they're doing, they collecting the data, then organizing the data, and they are moving into that. What is that? They're moving into exactly uh, what the corporate guys and the senior level guys they want to look at it the picture. Earlier we used to create a small graphs and we used to share with the customer. They go around that, they will get to know, okay, this is the sales happen and this is the inventory we have, something like that. Okay, this is a monthly report and this is a yearly report, something like that. But inside that there is here the other culture is there, that is okay, So we'll try to understand what exactly the market went and how we can predict the market. What are the new things we can come into the bring into the market. There's so many thing analysis we can find out. That is done by the statistician, but now only that those things are identified. Not now only. Actually, believe me, it's actually the machine learning which is existing more than 20 years, 25 years. Okay, even I think the coin, the machine learning coin is the word coined by the one guy, I forgot the name. So almost 1950s itself. Okay, so 1950s itself, actually they coined the word called the machine learning. But the recent years, last I would believe like 2015, after the 2015 only it's become very popular. And now the entire the IT divisions going towards that AI only. Okay, because actually they are finding the spaces in each and every spaces. Even for agriculture perspective, it's going to be like a power grid, electrical electronics purpose perspective, and the signals and systems. Okay, there are so many places there are lots of R&Ds are going on. So in another down the line, it's the demand for this the AI and the machine learning and data science. The all other space is going to be very high because they want to predict what will happen. Even for the COVID situation, they're doing all the prediction analysis, and they're bringing up the um, what is that, the predictive analysis. So that's a very, it could be a kind of funny things. Actually, this guy is looking at just the statistics. Nobody is there, and he's making a frame and put it in a nice wall, and started explaining what it is. It so the people started gathering and try to listen that. But it could be one way. It's like kind of funny, but actually the seriousness and the insight of the data, it's very important when we're dealing with the data science. Okay, so quickly. Okay. So quickly we'll move to slide next one. So what is statistics? This is a complete wave. So just I prepared for you guys to understand. So statistics is nothing but a mathematics, everyone, right? And then is a data collection and dealing with the data. Yes, of course. And then data organization and the presentation. So after the data collecting from the various spaces, I'm not talking about the recently we are collecting the data from different server, database server, something like that. No, yearly actually the statistics. What they will do, they will collect the data manually and started collecting, and they do organize the data and presentation. Now since we have using computing system, so everything is going to be automated. So after the organized and data presentation, it's a well enough to do their analysis, and then they're going to for the data analysis and data interpretation. So by using a data interpretation, so what they're doing, they're able to figure out whether that specific the product will be withstand in the market or not. Those kind of predicting analysis they used to do. But um, um, for example, see, most of the time actually, if you want to say some theory in the text, instead of giving instead of giving that specific the concept in the test, if you're sharing those inputs in the form of the pictorial representation, the understanding is well and good, is exponential. Okay, so this is not only for example, when you guys have started learning each and every one, right? So we are not going straight away for a for apple. Not, there should be some apple picture should be there, then under it there might be apple. Okay, and the same way for ball, cat, etc, etc. So when we started learning, we used to see the pictures and try to understand, then it will be registered in your mind, and anybody can understand that. For example, if you guys are writing any papers, like if you want to draw some steps or flow diagram, so if you're writing a 4 pages of answer, and top of that if you're giving like just a few steps in bullet points, or else in the form of a pictorial representation, some flow diagram kind of stuff, the understanding methodology is totally different. Okay, so that's the reason what they are doing after this data prediction interpretation. They want to highlight in the form of graphical representation, and they'll try to explain so that the CEO, CFO, and the any other president level guys, directors, board of directors, everybody can understand what went wrong, what went good, something like that. Not only those level people, it's going to be even for shop level people as well. So we can explain them. So if you say this way, the pie chart, so these are the percentage we have done successful, or else you have done this is a successful rate or this is a failure rate. So by using this kind of the picture representation, everybody can understand that. So that is the reason actually. So instead of giving the text format,